Welcome to the Oakleaf Sports Report. I'm your host, Sean Dougherty, and as always, it is my pleasure to bring to you everything you need to know in the world of Bear Cub athletics, past, present, and future. You'll get it here first at the Oakleaf Sports Report. And what a great season it has been for just about every sport that JC has going this fall. And as the season starts to wind down, a number of teams are preparing to make their runs in the postseason. There are a few teams that have a legitimate shot at bringing home some state champion hardware. One of those teams is your Bear Cub volleyball team, who has just been unstoppable over the last month or so. And last week was no different. The Bear Cubs were on the road with games against Diablo Valley College and Sac City. The first of those was in Pleasant Hill when the Bear Cubs took on Diablo Valley College, and quite frankly, DVC was just no match for the Bear Cubs as they swept through in 3 sets by the scores of 25-16, 25-19, and 25-10. On Friday, the girls traveled over to Sacramento to take on Sac City and swept through that match as well by the scores of 25-11, 25-12, and finally 25-20. The Bear Cubs improved their conference record to a perfect 9-0 and are 18-2 overall. Here at the Oakleaf Sports Report, we are waiting for the latest state rankings to come out, so unfortunately we cannot update you on whether or not the Bear Cubs have jumped up in both the Northern California or state rankings. The Bear Cubs only have 5 games remaining on the schedule before the first round of playoffs, which begins on Tuesday, November 20th. This week's schedule for the volleyball team includes a home game against Consumnes River here at the JC, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Then on Friday, the team travels to Stockton to take on Delta. Saturday, your Bear Cub football team was in action against De Anza and jumped out to an early 14-0 first quarter lead after quarterback David Sowards threw 2 touchdown passes. The first was a 5-yard pass to his favorite target, Jordan Bergstrom. Then, with 5 minutes and 35 seconds left in the first quarter, he hit Terrence Drew on an 18-yard pass for the second score of the game. Things would turn around, however, in the second quarter when De Anza put up 20 points in response to the Bear Cubs only putting up 3. De Anza's quarterback Josh McCain hit Paris Shaw for De Anza's first touchdown, and after a failed 2-point conversion, the score was 14-6. Then on De Anza's next possession, Josh McCain added a 2-yard touchdown run to make it a 1-point game. Bear Cubs' Lee Aranda kicked a 24-yard field goal to make it 17-13, but De Anza would find the end zone one more time before the half when McCain found Rodney McKenzie for a 9-yard touchdown pass to give De Anza the lead going into halftime, 20-17. The third quarter was fairly uneventful. No scoring occurred, and in fact, no scoring occurred in the second half until about halfway through the fourth quarter, when Rodney McKenzie caught a 26-yard pass from Brian Fobbs, the backup quarterback for De Anza, and that was McKenzie's second touchdown of the game. On the kickoff after that score, Jordan Bergstrom fumbled the ball on the 18-yard line to give De Anza excellent field position, and it only took one play as Alfonso Brister ran the ball in for an 18-yard run to make the game 34-17. The end of the fourth quarter did have some excitement. The Bear Cubs would score twice in 35 seconds. Sowards would add a 75-yard drive with a 2-yard touchdown to make it a 34-24 game. The Bear Cubs would force De Anza to go 4 and out and got the ball back and would score on a 21-yard pass to Jordan Bergstrom to make it 34-31. And that's where things would end. The Bear Cubs lose another one and drop to 1-3 in conference and 3-5 overall. David Sowards did have a big day through the air, throwing 33 out of 61 for 458 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did, however, have 2 interceptions. Spencer Morrow led the ground attack, rushing for 131 yards on 18 carries. Terrence Drew had 7 receptions for 165 yards and 1 touchdown. And Jordan Bergstrom had his 2 touchdown receptions, but only caught 3 passes for 32 yards on the day. Up next, the Bear Cubs will travel to San Francisco to take on the reigning state champion San Francisco City College Rams at 1 o'clock. It would be quite amazing if the Bear Cubs could travel down to San Francisco and upset the #1 ranked team in Northern California. The men's soccer team has been enjoying one of their best seasons in recent memory, and last week the Bear Cubs had only one game on the schedule, and that was against Northern California's 9th ranked team, Modesto, in Modesto. Give Modesto credit, they played the Bear Cubs tough, and the game resulted in a 0-0 tie. This week, the Bear Cubs will travel to Sacramento to take on American River before hosting Delta here at the JC Friday at 3 p.m. Bear Cubs are still 4-0-1 in conference and 12-2 overall. After this week, the Bear Cubs only have one game remaining on the schedule, and that'll be on the road against Cosumnes River next Friday, November 9th. The women's team had a very busy week with 3 games on the schedule. The first was against Sac City here at the JC on Tuesday. The Bear Cubs rolled to a 4-0 shutout, receiving goals from Karina Capra-Martin, Miley Giron, Erik Rodriguez, and Holly DePina. Then on Friday, the Bear Cubs welcomed Northern California's 5th-ranked team, Sierra, and shut out the Wolverines 3-0. Sal Jabray got the first goal of the game for the Bear Cubs. Then Erik Rodriguez scored 2 goals and assisted Jabray's goal. I'm sure this game had the Bear Cubs fired up, since the only loss suffered by the Bear Cubs in conference play this season had came at the hands of Sierra earlier this season, when the Bear Cubs lost 1-0. Your Bear Cubs soccer team is 8-1-1 in conference and are 11-3-1 overall. This week, the Bear Cubs travel to Sacramento to take on American River on Tuesday, and then Friday will welcome in Delta for a 1 o'clock game. After that, there's only 2 games remaining on the schedule before the playoffs. Last week, the Bear Cub Wrestling program welcomed in NCAA Wrestling champion Anthony Robles, as he is on his book and motivational speaking tour. And before the Bear Cubs faced off against Skyline in a conference meet, spent a little bit of time talking to the fans. Here to fill us in on the Bear Cubs Wrestling team is Erik Ramirez, who is the Oakleaf Wrestling Insider. Erik, thank you for joining me. Wednesday night, Towser Gym, Anthony Robles, Unstoppable. Tell us, what was the atmosphere like, and how did the team do?
Now, Anthony Robles himself is an amazing speaker. He is very, very devoted and a great guy. He came in and gave a speech for about 2 minutes, and he just really electrified the stadium. Big show out, big crowd. I think the Bear Cubs really fed off of it.
Great, and so talking a little bit about the match, it seemed to be a perfect night for the Bear Cubs. Tell us what happened.
Well, the Bear Cubs kind of mopped the floor with a 41-3 feat over Skyline. Everybody but Andres Torres, a lightweight. He lost, sadly, in the 3rd period, 2 points. Very painful to watch.
Overall, though, seems like a good night. Having Anthony Robles there, the largest margin of victory for the Bear Cub Wrestling program this season. Obviously, the team fed off of that motivational speech before the game and did their job with against Skyline. Coming up for the Bear Cubs, what's going on? I know we have a couple matches and tournaments on the horizon as the season winds down. Why don't you let us know what's going on?
Well, on November 3rd, the boys will be in Reno. They'll actually be facing there. And then on November 7th, they will be facing Chabot at 7 p.m. here in Towser Gym.
Excellent. So, Bear Cub fans, if you want to come out and check out some fantastic wrestling action, be here November 7th at Towser Gym. The Bear Cubs currently are 9-1 overall in dual meets and are undefeated with a 2-0 conference record. The men's water polo team only had one game on their schedule last week, and that was a doubleheader against American River in Sacramento. The Bear Cubs lost 13-8. This weekend, the Bear Cubs are going to try to do their best to get fired up for the Big 8 tournament in Sacramento at American River College. The Bear Cubs hold a 7-19 overall record and are only 1-4 in conference play. The women's season is winding down, and last week the Bear Cubs split their 2 games, losing to American River 12-6 in Sacramento, and then on Wednesday came back and beat San Mateo 9-8 here at the JC. Like the men, the women's team heads back to Sacramento for the Big 8 tournament, and we want to wish both teams the best of luck. The Bear Cub cross country teams competed in the Big A Championships in Pleasant Hill last weekend. Zeke Mabarutu finished 5th and received all-conference first team award. Jesse Finn finished 15th overall, missing the conference honors by just 1 second. On the women's side, Allie Van Zant showed what the Bear Cubs are made of, coming from behind at 30th place at the first mile to finishing 14th and receiving second team all-conference honors. The men's and women's teams will compete in the NorCal Championships this coming Saturday, November 3rd. They'll be attempting to do what has not been done for over 10 years here at the JC, qualify a full team for both genders. We only have one announcement today. The Bear Cub Athletic Trust will be hosting the annual Polenta Feed fundraiser on Saturday, November 17th at Becker Hall at St. Eugene's Cathedral, located at 2323 Montgomery Drive here in Santa Rosa. A no-host happy hour will begin at 5:30, and the dinner, auction, music, and dancing will start at 6:30. Tickets cost just $25, and you can call SRJC's athletic office at 707-527-4237 for more details. Come on out, enjoy a wonderful evening, and help support the athletic programs here at Santa Rosa Junior College. The crew of the Oakleaf Sports Report, and myself included, want to say congratulations to the 2012 World Champs San Francisco Giants on winning the World Series and bringing home the second trophy in 2 years to the Bay. That's it. Thank you for joining me, Sean Dougherty, your host of the Oakleaf Sports Report. As always, it is my pleasure to bring to you everything you need to know in the world of Bear Cub athletics. We want to thank Erik Ramirez for joining us today and talking about what's going on with the wrestling team. And finally, you can only win the games in which you play, so be sure you play the game. Go Bear Cubs!